Hi everyone, welcome to Wigan Fan TV. Again, a special show in regards to not a planned show until this morning. Same thing happened last Monday. We were hit with the news of Sam Tompkins leaving the club, and then this morning we were hit with the news that I think took a lot of people by surprise. Certainly took me by surprise that Shaun Wane's to leave at the end of the year. So I'm joined by Gareth Davis and Matt Macaulay. Let's start on the far side, Gareth. Your initial reactions to the announcement this morning that Shaun Wane's to leave the club?
Shock, I think. I don't think anyone saw that coming. Whereas you said that before we went on air that you spent 40 minutes discussing Sam Tompkins last week. That was something that we knew was going to happen. It was expected. It was, it's just a case of it being officially announced by the club and the player and whatnot. This is a bolt out of the blue. This is... It, like anything, it leaves more questions than answers, really. Why did he leave? Was he jumped? Was he pushed? I don't know.
Who jumped him?
Yeah.
I mean, Simon's just put on the bottom there. You should start the show with the EastEnders theme tune, and I think you're going very much along those lines with that suggestion.
But no, I just don't think it makes sense because Wigan are in a great position. We're gonna talk about Shaun Wane. We'll probably talk about another Shaun as well. I think his name will come up. What we're going to probably end up talking about Zach Hardaker a little bit, but what we probably won't talk much about is the fact that Wigan beat Warrington at Newcastle at the weekend. It would take a brave man to bet against Wigan not appearing in the grand final, in October, I think, which makes the decision of Wane leaving not baffling, but I suppose it is baffling, really puzzling. Why would he walk away? We don't really know. Obviously, you and people like me and Matt, we perhaps know a little bit more than other people do. But however, it still just seems a strange
giving me and Matt a lot of credit there.
Especially you. I mean, obviously, Phil Wilkinson from the Wigan press and whatnot, and I know a few people from the mainstream press. And normally you hear a few sort of whisperings, people, dangle a few carrots about something that might happen. No one even mentioned it. It was no rumour.
You say that, Gareth. My mum 2 weeks ago told me, and she heard it from my niece, Hannah. So this rumour was going around. I just didn't expect my mum to be the source who'd get it right.
I think Matt is right there. There certainly was rumours, and I know Tim's just put on there. He mentioned it last week. There was rumours, but I just thought it was more or less people putting two and two together of the Sam Tompkins, Michael McAlorum connection to Catalans and expecting it. That obviously, we'll come on and perhaps to speculate where Shaun Wane may go. But Matt, give me your initial reaction. Obviously, the famous whiteboard behind you perhaps gives your reaction.
No poem tonight. No poem.
I couldn't make anything rhyme. That's how upset I was. But
talk us through this morning.
I've had a very busy day at school anyway. I mean, we've been interviewing and stuff like that. And
he didn't sign up for an interview, did he?
He didn't actually, no. But once I read the news, I thought maybe this is it. But no, he didn't. It was a shock and quite saddening in a way. But there again, that's life, isn't it? Things change, life goes on. And if you're going to leave a club, you want to leave at the top. You don't want to be leaving at a time when, things are going wrong. Perhaps he thought, if he's got other ambitions, which he clearly has, this is the time to go.
I think there's lots of different elements to this, isn't there? There's one, why did he choose to leave? Like you said, Matt, you perhaps leave at the top, don't you? I think the big thing with Shaun Wane, and I think, we'll come on to rumours about who may take over, where he might go, and I'm sure lots of people that are watching, and I think we've pretty much got a record number of live viewers at any one time at this moment in time, so just as their interaction and interest in this. And where Shaun Wane might go and sort of the implications of that and perhaps the implications of what that means for the players as well. Obviously we don't know anything about John Bateman at this moment in time. If John Bateman wants to sign a contract and he doesn't know who the new coach is, what might that lead to next year. But I think we should perhaps pay a little bit of a tribute to Shaun Wane, or maybe not, depending on how you feel. But there's some stats that I put on this morning, and I'll try and put it onto the screen as well. Just an overview of his trophies there. It's probably pretty hard to see for some people, but the major trophies that he's won. There was a big thing, 37 academy graduates brought into the first team as well over the 6 years that he's been at the club. So Gareth, can you, it's really hard to try and summarise somebody's career, but the impact that you think Shaun Wane has had over the past 6-8 years and even 30 years, as the official website said this morning.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to take into consideration when he was a Wigan player. He's Wigan through and through. So his impact, his legacy lasts far longer than just the years that he's the 6 years that he's been the head coach. And I think that there was a stat, I can't remember where I saw it. It was something I read today about the roles he's held at the club as well before he was made the head coach. You said 37 academy graduates. The fruits of his labour before he took over as head coach, so like when Michael Maguire was there, when Brian Noble was there, Wigan have got a lot to be grateful for him for the methods that he implemented. That he must have gone to whoever was in charge, and I can't remember, and said, "This is the path that we want to go down. We want to bring young kids through. We want to develop our own players," and that he has undoubtedly done. And some of those players have turned out to be absolute superstars. So I think you look beyond just those trophies he won, that his legacy is long, it's far-reaching, it's got consequences. I don't know. A Wigan, is he leaving because there's a shift in direction for the way the club's going? But I don't think. I think his trophy record is really, really good. I think it's excellent, in fact. But to me, I would look beyond that and say the legacy of him bringing players, both Sam Tompkins, all three of the Tompkins brothers, George Williams, players like that, Liam Marshall, all of them, all those players have gone on to be absolute super. Do you know what I mean? He's nurtured and developed them, from the very beginning. That emphasis on youth and development and nurturing your own players, I think that to me is the biggest legacy that he'll leave. And it's sad that he's going. I think Matt's sort of grumpy face, miserable face.
Matt's face almost matches the face behind, doesn't it? This is incredible. I don't know whether you're deliberately trying to do that, Matt, but you were spot on then. Matt,
I'm a man of many talents.
For yourself, Gareth's talking there, I guess, about the youth that he brought through, and perhaps that's his legacy as well as being, serial winner is probably a term that some people might argue with. He's obviously lost 2 grand finals. He's lost a Challenge Cup final. What will his legacy be for you, Matt? Is it that youth system and the trust and belief in youth?
Yeah, and I've got to totally agree with Gareth, really. It's the trophies, definitely, and the level of success we've enjoyed over the last 6 years. But it goes beyond that, doesn't it? And it makes me wonder who is the next Shaun Wane, who's currently at the club, who's doing that work in the youth system, who's, inspiring young players to become the superstars of tomorrow. That's what I'm worried about. What vacuum does he leave? Because I've got no doubt whatsoever Wigan can airlift in a top coach, and that'd be brilliant. But there's something more about Shaun Wane, something almost in his DNA that has got Wigan written right through it. And I think so much of the club has been about him. I think his influence has been that great. No matter who becomes the next coach, I am worried about who replaces Shaun Wane.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I must confess something. I don't know if I've mentioned it to you, Matt. Last Thursday, I got an email from Mr. S. Wane asking me if I could put together some stats for him. Some stats that I put into an article that I did earlier on this year and last year, mainly about his stats of being I think he got a lot of stick last year, rightly so, wrongly so, depending on people's opinion. But I wanted to look at the overall impact that he'd had at the club and his win ratio. And it turns out his win ratio he has currently the best win ratio out of any manager that has managed in Super League for over 200 games. I wanted to look at the academy graduates, and he wanted that information. I sent that through. I think he's brought through 37 academy graduates, which he quoted in his resignation statement this morning, which I wasn't aware I was co-writing for him. And the other thing that he asked me to do was how many finals have I been in, and that's why I did this graphic. And that graphic is actually what I sent through to Shaun Wane last Thursday. If I would have known that it was part of his resignation statement, or perhaps his CV and application for the job, I might have.
He wasn't thinking of leaving last Thursday. Then he got all that, and he thought, "Well, job done then."
Yeah. So I'm perhaps responsible. No, I'm not responsible for Shaun Wane going, but I thought that was really important. The 37 academy graduates, they're in an article that I put on. I reposted it today. Even if you look at those academy graduates, it's beyond 37 academy graduates, really. Like Gareth said, it's the Sam Tompkins and Joel Tompkins who he didn't give the debut to, but he was influential with bringing them through the academy. So that 37 academy graduates is perhaps double that figure. And you look at the players, I think his first debut that he gave to was Joe Mellor. Joe Mellor is the captain of Widnes. He's gone on to have a great Super League career. There's people in there that have gone on to have fantastic careers. You look at the one player in there that I think has perhaps not had a rugby league career is a winger called Ryan King, and I think he was like the second or third person that he gave a debut to. So I think that's absolutely fantastic, and I do believe, and I agree with you too, that that's his legacy. I do think he's trying to go out at the top of his game. I think last season, I think it's interesting that he quoted his family as well in the statement. I think it's obviously been a stressful time for his family, the amount of stick that he gets on social media, and that's obviously hard for any family to take. I think that's a big influence as well. But we'll go on to who we think might take over for Wigan, Gareth. But where do you think, what's next for Shaun Wane? I've put on here some of the speculations now. The NFL one at the end that I've put on is obviously a very out there one, and I picked that up from Phil Wilkinson before. I think he spoke to Shaun Wane a few years back and said that he would be interested in something to do with NFL at some point. But we've got the option of, I guess, rugby union. There's rumours of him going to be a defensive coach like Andrew Farrell, like Sean Edwards have excelled at. Catalans, the NRL, England perhaps, to support Wayne Bennett, or the NFL as an outlet. Gareth, where would you see him in 2019, if anywhere?
I really don't know, to be honest, because he's so, like Matt said, Wigan's in his DNA. He is Wigan through and through. Cut him open, he would be bleed cherry and white, wouldn't he? First of all, it's going to be hard. It's almost hard to picture him anywhere else other than sat in the stands at the DW, with the crest on his coat. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Is Wigan in his DNA so much that he couldn't coach? I don't think he could coach another team in the Super League. Not an English coach. He
played for Leeds. He played for Workington or Whitehead.
At the end of his career, though, I think his best days are behind him. I don't think you can say his best days are behind him as a coach. I really don't. No. He's not going to have a shortage of offers, I don't think. Would he be suited to go down under? It's a big ask for a coach to go and an English coach to go and coach in the NRL and be successful. The NRL, they don't give Super League the credit it deserves. So is a club going to take a punt on even though Shaun Wane, you put those trophy stats up there, they're good. He's won World Club Challenges. Would they take a chance on him? I don't think so. I have to say, I think all roads point to the south of France, I think, because it's a good point you mentioned about the stick his family got on social media.
Yeah, I think that's got to be a massive influence for him.
He's still going to get stick in the south of France, but
in a different language.
No, you're right, Matt. No, Matt, you're dead right. It's in a different language. It's not. I think it'd be different down there, and I don't think there's that level of expectation in the south of France. Even though there's passion.
There is passion down there.
There is, but they are. I think they're still viewed as a work in progress. Whereas Wigan have been top of the tree for many, many years. And it's that us as supporters, we expect Wigan to win every week, don't we? We just do. We expect Wigan to win every week. Whereas I'm not quite sure whether that's the same in the south of France. So to me, linking it all together, like you said at the top of the show, like what with McAloon being Sam, what he would do in the south of France, I'm not kind of sure. If you wind the clock back to how Wigan were when he first took over as the academy coach, they obviously needed someone to go in there and start developing their own players. Well, that would fit well in the south of France, wouldn't it? To go in there and start developing their own players with some that he's worked with before, like the ones we said, like Sam and Mickey Mack and Lewis Tierney that's there now as well. So, yeah, I could see him going to the south of France. I can't see him going to the NRL. I think the NFL link's a bit too out there. Rugby union, I'd like to think not, but then you never know. And I just can't see him coaching another Super League, an English Super League club. Could you see him coaching Leeds or someone like that? I just don't think you could, to be honest.
No. Obviously, you might. Where do you think Shaun Wane will be next year?
I have no idea. The Catalan link does intrigue me a bit. Does it mean that Catalan are going to become like the new Widnes, just full of ex-Wigan players?
It's looking like it, isn't it?
Yeah.
With Wigan in a couple of years' time, Perpignan.
Mm-hmm. All I can say is wherever he ends up, I wish him the very best of luck, because I think we owe him a lot.
Absolutely. I think he's spot on. I think he's had his critics, and I think at times they've perhaps been justified with the style of rugby that Wigan have played. But overall, you've got to look at it. Legacy is his impact with these youngsters. The trophies that he's brought in. But I was thinking about this in the car, and I think I summed it up quite well in my head in the car. Is Wigan now have 4 stars above the badge. 2 of those stars are down to Shaun Wane. One as a man of the match performance in 1987, and one as a coach in 2017. That for me is his impact. 2 of the 4 stars that we have in the top of my screen right now are partly owed to Shaun Wane, and I think that for me is his overriding legacy. And part of that is the youngsters that he brings in. In terms of where I think he'll go next, I think the impact on his, the impact that I think it's had on his family, and again, this is only from the fact that he mentioned his wife and his daughters in the statement, which I think was an important part of the statement, is I think he'll go to rugby union. I think he'll probably look at the job that Andy Farrell's doing in Ireland. He'll look at the job that Shaun Edwards is doing at Wales. And he might think, you know what, that's a bit of an easy life compared to being head coach of Wigan. I'm not going to get as much stick. I'm going to be a defensive coach, something that I can specialise in. That's
providing he doesn't get on the train with a load of England supporters.
Yeah, but, they'll call him a northern monkey and call him all sorts of things about being involved in rugby league. But I think that's probably a lot better than some of the stick that he got previously. I think he'll be at rugby union. And one of the reasons why I don't think he'll be at Catalans, and I know a lot of people are saying he will be at Catalans and everything like that. For me, I think if McNamara wasn't going to be at Catalans next year, he would have gone already. I think they buy into McNamara as much as people diss him and what have you for what he can potentially do to the younger sides coming through, similar to what he did with the England setup, bringing the England night setup in. And key to this is the announcement of Sam Tompkins. Sam Tompkins last week said he was looking forward to working with Steve McNamara, and that was one of his influences in making the decision. I don't think that Sam Tompkins would have been sold that promise, if you like, of either working with Shaun Wane or Steve McNamara, however you might have seen it, if McNamara wasn't going to be at the club next year. So I that's why I don't think there's anything in the Catalans one. But I didn't think Shaun Wane was leaving, so I know nothing. So I think...
And my mum said Catalan.
Okay, well, she was right. So, yeah, I mean, that's gospel then, isn't it? Really? That he's off to Catalans. Do you know what? There's an interesting one here. Simon and Amanda have just come up with Toronto. Toronto. Could be, couldn't it?
But just going back to your, you say you think he's going to go to rugby union. Don't you think he'd be wasted going to rugby union? That's not. I'm not disrespecting rugby union as a game. If he goes in as this, what jobs has been linked with today? Scottish defensive coach.
Yeah, I think defensive coach is what they see as. But he's a granddad as well. He might get to spend a bit more time with his grandson, a bit more time with his family, less pressure, decent wage. Bob's your uncle. I get
that, but I just think if that happened to be, not just for our club, but it's a crying loss for the game, considering his track record of developing young players, that he would then go and probably.
I agree.
Probably, I mean, what's the Scotland national team play? Maybe 10 games a season. All right,
well, there you go. Easy money,
easy life, easy money. But what a crying shame that would be for our game, for someone that has done so much with developing young players. That if he just. But
I've just put David's comment on there. That's interesting, actually. It's something that I never considered. Wayne as head coach at Catalan, McNamara as director of rugby, perhaps. I've never got a clue what director of rugby means. I don't think it means much, does it? New York, perhaps. Yeah, why not? And I think Mark Logan there suggesting he might go to Lee. Yeah, that might be interesting. But yeah, Shaun, I've just spoke to a bloke in the Chippy. That's where all the best rumours start, isn't it? Jeff Tuvey is a new Wigan coach. Let's move. I mean, let's draw a line under sort of, I guess, our acknowledgement and our thanks to Shaun Wane. I mean, we'll probably do this a lot more before the end of the year because there's still a lot of the season to go through. And Neil, like Neil says, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. You can't doubt his record. Absolutely right. Let's draw a line under this. I guess we all agree it's going to be a loss to the game. Do you think, Gareth? And certainly a loss to Wigan.
Yeah, massively. If first and foremost, it's a loss to Wigan. But if, like I said, just then, with that, given that track record of developing young players and turning them into superstars of our game, because there's no doubt that he's done that over the time he's been involved, with Wigan coaching-wise. If that is lost to, and I'm not having a dig at rugby union. If that is lost to rugby union, wherever else he goes, then that is I think that's a real crying shame. That is. However, if it's totally personal and, like you say, he just thinks, you know what, I don't want the hassle of this anymore. I've had enough of people hurling abuse at me, missus and the kids.
Yeah,
I want to do something else. Then I don't blame him. But yeah, they would. But I'm disappointed for the game. I think it'd be a real loss, real loss to the game. And it's interesting. You quote those people like Andy Farrell and Shaun Edwards and Mike Ford and Joe Lyde and people like that have gone over to rugby union. They never really achieved anything in rugby league other than what they did players, and they all achieved an awful lot when they were players, especially Andy Farrell and Shaun Edwards. But they never did anything as coaches. So that's why I think it would be a crying shame, because Wayne's proved he could do it. I just think it'd be great for our game to see a real good thriving club in France where it's full of homegrown French players, and so I think come on, Shaun, if you're watching, get on the plane with
that's
Sam.
Where to go.
Get down to Matt's mum says you should go there, so get yourself down.
Well, apparently she's already gone there. I mean, we'll perhaps speculate now about who we would like to see as the next person in the hot seat. And anybody that's watching, please tell us your suggestions. We ran a poll earlier, and the overwhelming favourite with the poll was Shaun Edwards, and second to that was Andy Farrell, and then I think third was Adrian Lamb. Which is an interesting one. Let's start with, and anybody that's watching as well, if you see people typing Wigan in the comments, the reason why people are doing that is if you type Wigan, then you get a notification straight to Messenger every time that we go live. So if you want to be pestered by us when our faces pop up on here, just type Wigan into the comments box and we can annoy you, basically, because you're giving them permission for us to do that. So who next for Wigan, Matt?
Don't know. Jeff Tuvey sounds interesting. Shaun Edwards, my childhood hero, but he's been out of the game such a long time, hasn't he? Can we cobble together a kind of Frankenstein's monster style coach from bits of all the people we'd like? Is that doable?
No. I mean, we both probably saw your comment before. You want Romain Navarrete as a coach, so
that was a suggestion. Yes.
yeah. So I mean, I'm deliberately coming to you first, Matt, on this one. I mean, one, who would you like, and two, who do you think it will be? I guess that's the essence of it. It's difficult, with pure speculation here, isn't it? But yeah, who would you like? I guess
I quite like someone like Maguire in that he was a young, hungry assistant coach who hadn't really made a big name for himself in Australia. And we spotted a bit of talent there, and something like that I wouldn't be averse to. There again, I think when Paul Deacon left, we lost something quite specific in coaching. So maybe Paul Deacon, not Iestyn Harris. I don't fancy Iestyn Harris.
Well, I think Iestyn Harris is too big. I think he's remoulding himself as an agent now, and I think he's sort of suggested that he's not good enough as a coach, so he's going to go down the agent route.
I think that's a good choice.
Yeah, a lot of people agree with it. Well, I mean, I think, the Mike Maguire mould thing is obviously something that St Helens followed with Justin Holbrook promoting an assistant. I watch the NRL, but I don't know the NRL well enough to sort of throw some random assistant's name at you and pretend that I know everything about Australian rugby league, because I honestly don't. I mean, Gareth, who do you think it will be, or who would you like it to be?
I don't know who it will be, but this is a bit left field for someone who I'd like it to be. I'd like it to be Daryl Powell. I think Daryl Powell's done a great job at Cass, and I almost feel that I don't want to sound disrespectful to Cass, because they were great for the competition last year. They didn't win the grand final. We all know why. They haven't been so good this season. We all know
Gareth,
why.
Can I stop you there?
Go on.
Right. Don't you think Castleford hate us enough already at the moment?
Possibly.
That would be the most incendiary thing.
Yeah, but I mean, we all know why. If they can't see through the disappointment of Zach Hardaker becoming a Wigan player, then they need to give their heads a wobble a little bit, really, don't they? And I'm putting that in the most politest terms. Any Cass supporters that are watching,
I don't think there's many. Don't worry.
But I almost think that Daryl Powell, he sort of got to a level at Cass, and is he actually going to achieve anything else there? No, I'm being really disrespectful now, aren't I? But I'm trying to. I'm being blunt here. Are they going to go on and win a grand final? Probably not. They overachieved last year, or because they had one player, they overachieved last year. I know they beat Leeds at the weekend, but they're not going to be in the grand final this year. Has Daryl Powell sort of almost got to the end of the road at Cass, and would managing, I'm not going to say a big club because I'm going to sound big-headed, but would being the head coach at Wigan be sort of the next step? I know you both say that we should perhaps look for someone that's an assistant at the moment, but has Daryl Powell had the chance to really test himself at the very top, coaching some of the best players in the competition? I don't think he has. I think it would be an attractive proposition for him. It would be a good fit for us because he's English. I don't know what his track record is of developing young players. I think that's the key thing here, that Wigan have gone down a certain road, and I think it would be foolish to deviate off that road, or that that kind of I can't think of the word, but that. I mean, that path that Shaun Wane is.
It's a culture, isn't it?
Culture.
That Wane's put in there. I mean, when I was thinking about who could possibly be the next coach, there's loads of people in here putting comments in of people that I would never have thought of. David Ferner obviously played for Wigan, well-respected assistant over in Australia. Simon says your mum, Matt. She could be in with a running.
She'd be up to it.
Yeah.
And at 4 mum, yeah.
I mean, Navarrete.
Hang on, that came out very wrong.
Let's move on from that.
But now, can I just say about you? You mentioned Shaun Edwards, Andy Farrell. Yeah, great. I mean, heroes. Shaun Edwards. I saw Shaun Edwards. I saw an old lady threaten to knock Shaun Edwards' head off with an umbrella the first time I ever saw Wigan play. And that's another story. But anyway. But him and Andy Farrell were probably, my two favourite Wigan players, other than Martin Afire when I was growing up. But you can't just appoint someone because they were good players. That doesn't work. And like Matt said, both of them have been out of the game for far too long. I'm not saying they wouldn't install a good culture. a good team ethic, a good work ethic. They make the players work hard. Do they know the game's changed since they were involved?
But is that not a strength though? I was having this conversation before.
No, I don't think
so.
No, I think that's a weakness.
I mean, there is this danger, isn't there? Sentiment. I've deliberately put Shaun Edwards' shirt behind me because that's the person that I would love to see in charge of Wigan. I always have. I remember watching the British Lions behind the scenes documentary and how passionate he was in delivering the speeches to the players. And the same with Andy Farrell when he's been on the Lions tours over the past few tours that they've been on, and how passionate he speaks about the game. And he's talking about rugby union, doesn't even like the sport, and he can talk that passionately about something that he doesn't like, but he gets a load of money for doing it. Imagine if they're in charge of Wigan, how passionate they would be about that. And I just think that's the danger, though, isn't it? That is the real danger.
You know what? That would
being blinded by passion.
And
there's one way to put it.
That would take their legacy, wouldn't it? Don't you think that would take their legacy if they came and
ask Kieran Cunningham?
Yeah, exactly.
That is a danger, isn't it? I mean, I just, somebody's put on here about, I've just lost a comment, Shaun Edwards. This is what I feel. I strongly agree with what Daniel's put on here. Shaun Edwards is likely to bring fresh ideas to rugby league, let alone Wigan. He's a winner and would have the respect from players from day one. That is why I want Shaun Edwards in charge. But I think that could be a trap that Ian Lennigan and Chris Rodlinski are probably wary of falling into, is that listening to your heart rather than your head, and that's possibly one of the issues. Darryl Powell, thoughts on? I mean, I really, really dislike Darryl Powell, and I would hate to see him at Wigan. I'm going to go on record and say,
I'll tell you what, I'm off now.
When you were talking, I was going to. Can
you see why I've said him though? Can you see the merits of why? I mean, can you see why I think that?
I can, but I mean, Gareth. I put Gareth, not you, Gareth. The other Gareth Hughes. Darryl Powell failed at Leeds. He did, and I struggle to see Darryl Powell identifying himself with Wigan and Wigan identifying him with. I think Darryl Powell, if he was to go anywhere, would be a second chance at Leeds whenever McDermott decides to go. But I mean, Matt, I'm interested to think how would you feel if that did happen? If Darryl Powell was Wigan, do you feel as strongly about him as I do?
I'd feel uncomfortable because there was all that hassly business between him and Shaun Wane, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But how about a coaching duo, Shaun Edwards, Sean O'Loughlin?
That's been suggested on here. There's a lot about, so there's that element to throw into the mixer as well, isn't there? Sean O'Loughlin has an element.
Yeah.
In his contract, he goes into
and
the
Tommy
coaching.
Tommy Luluai has got it as well.
There's other suggestions on here. Stuart's put on here, and somebody else put on here. Chris Chester, he got Hull KR to a final. I know he's struggling a little bit at Wakefield at the minute, but he's obviously played for Wigan, played in grand finals for Wigan. Stuart puts Mighty Max. Why not? Maybe give him a go.
Good helmet. Maybe the answer is a bit like, have I got news for you? We have a guest coach every week.
Why not? I mean, there's lots of suggestions in here about sort of collaborative, almost coaching teams. With bringing in somebody like Shaun Edwards, but with a bit of rugby league support. To he has been away for the game for well over 10 years, I would say, if not longer. In rugby union, very successful in rugby union. But it's bringing in an element of support. Somebody like promoting Darryl Powell, trying to get Paul Deacon back from sale again, where he's been wasted in rugby union. I'm happy that people are agreeing with me on the Darryl Powell one, Gareth. I'm really sorry about that, but people are agreeing with me about Darryl Powell. But I
like what Gareth said. What you said about the fact that coaching at Castleford is not as good as being an assistant coach in the NRL. I like that point you made, Gareth.
That was accidental, that is. I didn't mean to say it like that.
No, I mean, if just for any Cass fans that do happen to get this at this moment in time, that was Gareth that said that, and your hatred at him, I'll
get a barrage of abuse on Twitter later.
Yeah. Archie's put on here, as obviously a Leeds fan, can you take McDermott off us? I actually like McDermott. I like his grumpiness. I sort of resonate with that. Sort of see him as a bit of a hero.
His cryptic interviews are quite fun too.
Yeah, absolutely. Martin says Chester or Powell and I'm out. Dave says sorry to see Wayne go, but Powell's staying with us at Cass. He's all right, Dave. He can stay up there. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to put you on the spot. I know I've already asked you this question, but I'm saying Shaun Edwards is my number one choice. Gareth, are you saying Darryl Powell is your number one choice if you had the choice of anyone?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I am.
Okay, we'll think about inviting you on the show again. Matt, pressure. If you had to pick one name, who would you dream? Who would take Wigan forward next?
Oh, Ian Millward? No. My heart is saying Shaun Edwards, but that's because it's my heart. I genuinely don't know. But I will say this: I've got tremendous faith in Ian Lenigan's ability to choose a new head coach for Wigan. And as for this thing about the culture and changing the culture that's there, I don't think it's possible to change it. I think that the transfer market is such now that you can't just go buying people in left, right and centre. That's unsustainable. So I think we have to stay with what we've got. And so anybody coming in would have to be able to work with that and put their own stamp on it. Interesting times.
Agree. It's very interesting, isn't it? It's almost like a changing of the guard in terms of we're seeing obviously Tompkins gone, McAloram's gone. There's almost this element of what people were perhaps calling. I mean, they were calling them lots of things, but almost Shaun Wane and his best mates, weren't they, at one point last year when we were getting criticised a lot. And it's almost that's been taken away now, and now there will be a bit of a new culture. But whoever does come in has to buy into that, you know. And for me, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens to the support staff. Mark Bitcon, who has been, I think, essential in Wigan's
He better
success.
stay. He had better stay.
I think.
Never mind the value.
A lot of.
Are you all right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, Mark Bitcon has to stay. I mean, I lost a bit of what you said, Matt. There, I must confess.
I was just saying that. Never mind the value of Bitcoin. It's the value of Bitcoin to Wigan is second to none.
Sorry, I mean, yeah, I heard that, and that was a very good joke, and you went all Dalek-y on me when you probably put in your best joke of the night. I apologise for that, Matt. It's just temperamental, as you know. So, yeah, I mean, I think that is interesting, isn't it? Mark Bitcon, Matty Peace, who's obviously well-respected at the club and in charge of the head of youth development. He's, I think, again, key. What happens to John Winder? I saw a lot of criticism about John Winder on here.
Why?
Somebody said, and people were calling him the worst coach that they've seen and things like that. And I don't think we can see that as fans what he actually does. You know, it's not like Shaun Wane or a fitness coach where there's actual tangible asset to what he brings to the game. I think that's very difficult. But I think that support staff and, like you said, somebody said on here, Darryl Golding's future at the club will be very interesting as well. A highly respected player, had to retire early. I think he's only 30 now himself. So yeah, very interesting times. I'm conscious that we're up to about 40 minutes on here. Let's get some very quick snap reactions to stories that have broken since the last time I was on. Gareth, thoughts on Hardaker being signed?
I think it's a good move all round, isn't it? I mean, they said he was in Last Chance Saloon at Cass. I think he's really in. That he's definitely drinking in the Last Chance Saloon now at Wigan. He's got one more chance. There's no doubt on his day he's world class. I genuinely think he's a world class player. Signing did we let Tompkins go because we perhaps knew we were going to get Hardaker? Possibly, probably, definitely. I think he's a different kind of player to Tompkins, but on his day, he is genuinely world class. So I think that can only be a bonus. Interesting that. So he was obviously his signing. He was signed under Shaun Wane, and would Shaun Wane say so? And this is what I cannot get my head round. I'm sorry, we're going to be going on for quite a while here I can't get my head round how we let Sam leave, we signed Zach Hardaker, and then the coach goes. So what happens? There's obviously things that have gone on behind the scenes, but you could quite conceivably be in a position where that new coach comes in. He doesn't like Hardaker. We don't get on with Hardaker. Yeah. I don't know. And he might think, oh, why did they let Sam go to Catalans? I don't think that Shaun Wane would have come out and said what he'd said. I think it would have waited until the end of the season if Wigan didn't have someone lined up potentially to come in. Now, whether we find out who that is before the end of the season, whether the rumour mill goes into overdrive, I don't know. But, you know, you're not signing a player like Zach Hardaker with a tremendous amount of baggage. You know, and I'm not trying to throw the guy under the bus. He's done that himself, you know. He has got a tremendous amount of baggage. But on his day, he's a brilliant rugby player. But that new coach is going to have to work with him.
Yeah.
Did he know that already? I don't know. Like you say,
that's an interesting point that Mark just puts on there.
Go on.
You know, Hardaker never mentioned working with Shaun Wane once in his interview. I never picked that up, to be honest with you, but that's an interesting point that was on there.
But like I said, it really does pose more questions than it gives us any kind of answers as to
Darryl Powell, isn't it?
Yes, Darryl Powell could work with him. It's redemption for costing Cass the grand final last year, which, by the way, they would have won if Hardaker had played. But yeah, I think if the only other thing to consider with Hardaker is he's been out of the game for a year. He's only a young lad, but can he come back up to speed as quickly as he would like and as Wigan would like? I don't know. On paper, it looks like a good move. I think. I seriously think it's a good move for him as a player. And let's be really honest here. Yes, he's a rugby player, professional athlete, role model, whatever. But he's a human. No. But he is.
So I'm laughing at Dave's comment about Wigan on a Friday night.
All right.
Yeah, sorry.
We can't see these comments, but you know.
All right.
I think he's made some stupid decisions, mistakes, whatever you call them. But you know, he's only a human. Like we've all done stupid things, haven't we? Do you know what I mean? I think the culture of. I think the culture of Wigan will suit him or should suit him, and that's obviously why he ended up at Wigan.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's quite a hard topic to sort of shoehorn into a discussion about something else, isn't it? Because it's such a divisive topic, and it's splitting opinion on the comments as well. You know, a lot of people not happy with him signing. A lot of people are. Matt, what's your take on Hardaker as a signing for Wigan?
I can only rationalise it if I think Tompkins goes, and that is really bad news. Hardaker's signing is the best possible way to alleviate that bad news. I think it's kind of saying goodbye to Tompkins, boo. Hardaker signing, woo. But you only get the woo after the boo. It wouldn't have been woo boo. It's got to be boo woo.
Boo-woo. Yeah, it's a good way of summarising it, actually, isn't it? I mean, I think, you know, my take on it is look at the cold hard facts. We're losing Sam Tompkins, and we've signed the player that was the best fullback in Super League last year and has been consistently until Ben Barber came along this year. From a business decision, which Ian Lenigan and Chris Radlinski have got to make, is you've got to replace Sam Tompkins. He didn't want that restructured deal that Wigan offered him, which was a business decision by Wigan to not exercise that fourth year on his current salary. They offered him a 4-year deal or 3-year deal, whatever, a 4-year deal on a marquee contract, but not as much money. He said no, business decision. Right, who's the next best player that's available? Hardaker was available. I think you've got to look at it like that. But I take the point that people are making. You know, I don't think anybody condones it, and I think the Ian Lenigan statement was very clear about that, wasn't it? He said, you know, we're signing him, but that doesn't mean we condone his actions. Jack says, what about Escaré? Now we've got Hardaker. You know, we've got Escaré and Tompkins at the moment, haven't we? I think that's probably the best answer I can give you. And Hardaker's played internationally at centre, and we're probably losing Bateman, which Stuart asked about Bateman. I don't think we've got time to talk about Bateman, but as soon as it's announced that he's leaving, I'm sure we'll be back on here. I am wearing a Canberra Raiders top. because I think Bateman's going to Canberra and Sutton is, and there was a rumour that Shaun Wane is as well, which is just bizarre. We don't have time to talk about. Last thing that I want to come to you both and talk about is Magic Weekend. I know neither of you were there because obviously you live far away from Newcastle. It's perfect for me because it's like half an hour down the road. And it's my favourite game of the year. Matt, what did you think about Magic Weekend? Let's talk about the performance from Wigan against Warrington.
Brilliant, wasn't it? Absolutely brilliant. In every possible way.
I thought that was it. And I was like, okay, that's a fantastic story. I mean, did you? I was asked before the game, and I was talking to the guys from Red V TV who I bumped into at Magic, talking about the difference between, or the clash between Charnley and Marshall. Were you surprised with how well Marshall did? Because I've given him stick on here, and I've got to say, Liam Marshall, well done. That was fantastic. A fantastic performance. One mistake, I think, in the whole game, and he really outshone Charnley. What do you think to that, Matt? Do you think Marshall was pretty special? I thought.
Yes, and I was pleasantly surprised by him. I was slightly worried going up against Josh Charnley. I thought Josh Charnley might just have the edge on him, but he didn't. I'll tell you who else played well, Navarrete.
Yeah, he did. And I know you're a big fan of Navarrete, but genuinely he did play well. I thought that I did the man of the match sort of little thing that we do, and I put 6 names on, and I thought, you know what, there should be 17 names on here. I thought everybody played really well. I don't think there was a bad performer. I thought Esquire came off the bench and looked electric playing in the halves. They couldn't deal with his pace. I thought Tautai ran well. Luluai was exceptional at hooker again. And he's playing really, really well. I'm going to finish about Magic Weekend with you, Gareth, because I know you've got a special jersey on again, sort of to do with this, and just get your thoughts on Magic Weekends.
I just think as sort of like an exiled fan, which I am. You know, we live in the middle of rugby union territory where we are. For our game to go to somewhere which isn't rugby league heartlands. And for something to be a success, and as big a success as Magic has proven to be in Newcastle, is something that should be applauded. I mean, I didn't watch all of the games, but I watched most of it on Saturday, and the atmosphere looked good. The games were good as well. Everyone seemed to be just enjoying themselves. And to top it off, Wigan, I think, really seriously announced themselves as possible grand final winners. I mean, I thought that all along, because on paper our squad is as good as any. I think where our old foe St Helens have got the advantage is they've got the best player in the competition in Ben Barr. But other than that, there's not an awful lot to choose between Wigan, Warrington and Saints, I don't think. But for us to beat Warrington in the way we did, playing the way we did, was a real statement, But no, going back to the Magic Weekend, I just think it's just a great concept, and one that will hopefully be there to stay. Hence why I've donned an old Gateshead Thunder shirt someone gave me once many years ago.
I've just put a comment on the screen now, and I want to sort of just say this about Callum's comment on there. The atmosphere was unreal. Arms are killing from being on the drum all day. I want to sort of pay credit to Callum, actually. He is the guy that you can hear that's drumming all of the time, and I'm not surprised that your arms are killing, Callum, because the money was entered World Class Trophy and Ken Sterling Shield Trophy on the train from Durham, and had them in the room. And thank you for everybody that came. Callum was playing his drum in the Centurion Bar at sort of 10:30 in the morning, and was still playing it after the game, after Wigan's victory, with the
Duracell batteries.
Yeah, I mean, how you do it, Callum, I haven't got a clue, but hats off to you. You were fantastic and really generated the atmosphere up in the top of the Gallagher stand on Saturday night. So well done to Callum, and I think that's probably a good way to end it. Positive note, and from Wigan Fan TV, acknowledging a fan for going above and beyond on Saturday with with his drumming skills. So this weekend, Hardaker, we'll maybe do a preview show if we can get people available before that, or we'll probably be on to talk about Bateman going to Canberra or wherever, or signing a new contract or whatever. But Gareth, thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to join us and giving your insight. And Matt as well, as always. No poem tonight, but I think the picture behind you sums it up better than any words could possibly do so. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for watching on demand later on and listening on the podcast. And thanks for everyone's support. Type Wigan in the comments on Facebook if you want to be pestered by us every time we go live. So thanks a lot, guys, and see you later.